So it was fascinating to be a part of the growth journey of the industry as well. So yeah, all in all, it was amazing to just be a part of the industry while the growth was happening. There was not a single day when I got up and say, enough of corporate. Fortunately, I didn't have to go through that hard journey.
Fantastic.
It was a journey which I lived in parallel, being a part of the corporate organization, and I love my roles there, but also slowly growing and participating in narratives, in journeys where I could understand this other world and see the potential of people like us helping. I think that was the transition where at one point I took a call. Soon they realized that being an innovator is not same or similar as being an entrepreneur, because the moment you are an innovator, a product is enough. The moment you are start taking the journey towards entrepreneurship, your tech skills become just 20%. But I also feel that the coming time is going to be very different, especially when we think about technologies like artificial intelligence. Everything around customer is changing. Like I said, world around us is changing, and as students of a business school, I'm sure you realize that while the traditional path of appearing and sitting for placements and joining a corporate job may or may not be available, may or may not be pursued as a choice, and that's okay. I think today I'm here to tell you that world is full of opportunities.
Hello viewers, this is Professor Guru Prasad. You're watching GIBS IRE Talks podcast powered by GIBS Business School, a platform where we explore some real stories of innovation, resilience, and purpose. But I keep making the statement, it's raining startups in India thanks to the ecosystem that we have built in our country. It's incredible to watch the numerous startups coming and creating a wave in the market. But the question is, having said that, it's not just about start and the launch, it's all about sustainability and what is that real-time solutions you bring in to the ongoing problems and issues. Well, no doubt, considering this trend, we have launched our own flagship program at GIBS named IRE, which stands for Innovation, Research and Entrepreneurship, wherein through this podcast, we have hosted numerous guests who have shared their incredible journey with our viewers. So today, I have with me Mr. Prateek Madhav, a national award-winning leader and CEO of Assistive Tech Foundation. I would talk to him about his journey, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of takeaways for all of us. On behalf of all my viewers, let me extend my heartfelt welcome to you. Welcome, Prateek.
Well, thank you, Guru. Thank you for inviting.
How is life treating you?
Very, very well. Can't complain. It's a beautiful world out there, but thank you very much again for inviting.
Great. So before I get into the subject, can I take you to the past? Can you recollect your school days, your college days? How was it? Just want to know, was this journey of yours was planned or it was an accident?
So I grew up in Jaipur, Rajasthan, studied there. I went to NIT Jaipur to do my engineering, and later years went to AM Calcutta to do my MBA. I think early years of life was phenomenal because Jaipur is a great town to grow up in. I think I have always been interested in relationships, conversations. Obviously, the Indian education system, along with the community you grow up, I think teaches you a lot of resilience because you practically grow up with no money, and how do you be creative in that society to really make use of the little resources you have to do what you want to do was the learning. I grew up in a very middle class family, 3 kids, father working for railways for good 35, 40 years. I think I should give it to my parents, who are unfortunately no more, who brought us up with a lot of love and care. They made us independent to do things which other parents probably wouldn't even allow kids to venture out, find your own way at a very beginning. So I think those were the tenets or the investment or the exposures which I have had as a kid. Um, Studying in NIT Jaipur was also great because it was not just an engineering college. I mean, as the NIT format is, I suddenly got to meet a lot of people from outside different states because NIT 50% the local people
True.
from Rajasthan and 50% from outside. So suddenly I got exposed to people with different cultures. They were
Exactly.
speaking different
That's what it
languages.
is.
So there was a lot of diversity I could see and I grew up with. I think that was a phenomenal experience as well. So yeah, overall, I've had a good upbringing living in Jaipur. But yeah, life thereafter has been amazing, to be honest. And to answer your question of what was it planned, so I after engineering I went to CDAC to Hyderabad to do a course in advanced computing, and this is advanced computing in 2000s, where the millennium shift was happening.
True.
And I was meeting my batch from CDAC after 25 years, just in December. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's been 25 years, Silver Jubilee. And actually, I met a lot of those folks after 25 years, and I told them if I were to tell you in 2000 in Hyderabad CDAC that I will introduce you to a person who lives in Bangalore, married a Malayali, runs marathon, work in disability sector,
Mhm.
and invest in tech startups, you would ask who. And today I am that. Why I'm trying to tell you what I'm trying to tell you is that you can be as much intelligent to design your career, but I think the design is only just 10-20% grow, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
80% probably is serendipity and God's blessings. So I've had two lives, and we'll talk more about them.
Absolutely.
But I think that it's not a lot of it was not designed. But I'm glad where I've reached where I was where
Lovely.
I've reached.
That's how it should be. Well, before you venture into something of your own, you had a good time in the corporate. How was your corporate journey?
But it's fantastic. See, I joined industry in 2000,
Hmm.
and I worked for Citigroup for many years. Then
Hmm.
I worked for an organization which is called Entity Data now.
Right.
So good 18-20 years of corporate journey. I had a chance to obviously visit and live in different countries. I lived in Boston for many. I've got a chance to also uh, manage teams, build software platforms in different places in the world by collaborating with people with immense diversity, not
Right.
just as a nationality, but the cultures as
Hmm.
well. At one point, I remember 2006, 7, I had in my team 12 to 13 nationalities,
Wow.
people from different nations working in. So I definitely a lot of learning on that aspect, but also for the fact that uh, corporate career gives you exposure to, and an opportunity to meet people. Definitely build something which will stay beyond you.
Hmm.
Um, uh, Understand how human psyche work when you're trying to build almost an industry, because 2000 probably is when the IT industry started growing
Exactly.
as well. So it was fascinating to be a part of the growth journey of the industry as well. So yeah, all in all, it was amazing to just be a part of the industry while the growth was happening
True.
and the tech innovation started to
Yes.
come as well. So yeah, I mean, I've had an amazing time.
Do you recollect the time when you decided, okay, enough of corporate life, it's now the time to venture into my own?
Actually, it was quite opposite,
Uh-huh.
Guru. I was really enjoying my corporate journey.
Okay.
2009 is when we as a family decided to move back to India. More of a
Was
personal
that the
reason.
right time? Because that's I'm talking about the global economic recession back
Oh,
then.
absolutely. Yeah, I think it was not timed, because of the recession coming
Hmm.
in. My mother was not well, so he said, okay, you have
Hmm.
to make those priorities and distance very, very clear. So 2009, I came back. I always wanted to do an MBA, so I studied and got into IIM Calcutta. So this is when 11, 12, I did my MBA. Now, what was happening parallel group was very fascinating. I started volunteering for different non-profits in Bangalore. Now, there was no particular reason for that. All of us in corporate life had some time, we had weekends, and the intent there was, can I be of use to anybody?
True.
So, between my office and home, there was a non-profit focused on visual impairment, Samarthanam, and I just went in and said, can I be of any help? Can I, participate in anything which you're doing? So, what started as a mere thought of volunteering time actually grew really well. Um, Long story short, 2 3 years, I'm Calcutta Library, and love to share that in that instance with you. So this organization used to manage blind cricket. I don't know if you've seen blind cricket. So it is people with visual impairment playing cricket with a white ball which makes
I know.
sound. Yeah.
Yes.
And it has ball bearing in it. So I'm sitting in I'm Calcutta Library, and this gentleman who was the founder chairman of this organization non-profit calls me from Dubai. The topic in the annual general body meeting, he was representing Indian Blind Cricket Association, and the topic was who would conduct first ever T20 World Cup cricket for the
For the
blind.
blind.
And
Wow.
I know as we speak, we have the T20 World Cup happening as well
Ongoing.
parallelly. But those years, this is 2012. And I said, okay, what happened in the annual general body meeting? He said we had few things to discuss, but then no nation, there were 10 nations who were participating, including, he from India. He said nobody was even taking responsibility to conduct the first ever T20 World Cup. I said, okay, then what? He said, I stood up and said, India is going to conduct first ever T20 World Cup cricket for the blind. And I said, what? You know what happened next? Librarian threw me out of the library, obviously. And I'm standing in front of the librarian saying, what did you commit? And he said, yes, I committed. In 6 months, 10 countries are coming to India to play World Cup. I said, oh my God. Anyway, long story short, I graduated sitting in a small room where 40 people with different kinds of disability. And what does an MBA guy do? Prepare budget. So I'm sitting with a laptop preparing rows and columns. Night 1 o'clock, we closed with 8 crores of budget in 2012. I said everybody is cheering except me because I have no idea where we're going to get that money.
True. True.
I think we were very, very fortunate that a lot of people helped, a lot of organization helped,
Lovely.
and we were able to conduct a World Cup attended by 10 countries, including India. The cherry on the cake is that we had India-Pakistan final. I think we always take joy in watching, participating in that.
True.
And India beat Pakistan in final to win the
Yes.
World Cup. Now, why I'm telling you this story is there was not a single day when I got up and say, enough of corporate. Fortunately, I didn't
Lovely.
have to go through that hard journey.
Fantastic.
It was a journey which I lived in parallel, being a part of the corporate organization, and I love my roles there, but also slowly growing and participating in narratives, in journeys where I could understand this other world and see the potential of people like us helping. I think that was the transition where at one point I took a call.
It's a very rare case somebody appreciating the corporate journey. I'll tell you because it's a fact, it's a reality that most of them say that they're tired, they're stressed. I just want to get out of this. But here I have somebody who is really appreciating the corporate life. And it is. If you really look at practically, I mean, you have gained a lot of experiences, a lot of lessons, exposures that has built you what you are today.
Sure.
Right?
Yes.
So I was glad to listen that you also mentored 500 plus startups. The number itself is humongous. I would want to know your views on these young kids, who are coming up with startup mindset or an entrepreneurial mindset. I'm sure by mentoring this 500, you have seen a lot of ups and a lot of downs in their journey. What is that common success factor and what is that common failure factor which you have seen in these 500?
Sure. So see, if you look at India as a country, 2012 is when Startup India was formed, and the central government started pushing a lot of initiatives on innovation and startups.
Right.
Yeah. So that's point number one. If you look at statistics during that time, India just had 400 registered startups.
Right.
Do you know how many of them are today?
It's a huge number.
Yeah. So we have 2 lakhs registered startup as per
Absolutely.
DPIT.
Yes.
Now, what just happened in just 10, 12 years from
Right.
400 to 200,000 startup is a phenomenal growth of any ecosystem by any standard in any country.
True.
I think what's behind it are few factors, Guru. One, policy changes.
Right.
Second, the ecosystem was being developed not just by the government. It actually came up to a level what it is today because a lot of private individuals, companies, corporates took interest. They knew that if we have to really survive this wave of change, the only way to survive the wave of change is by innovation. There are a lot of venture capitalist companies who are coming in. But if you see the heart of this ecosystem are people, those everyday Indian individual who was living with aspiration, but he or she never got a platform where he could explore developing his or her ideas. And I think that's what ecosystem do to the society. That's what ecosystem really make significant contribution to the growth of any nation by providing those opportunities. So today, when we are talking about 400 to 200,000 startups, what exist, and it has probably taken now 15 to 20 years, is access to funding,
Right.
access to mentors, access to
Technology.
as well. Access, I think a lot of time, democratization of capital, access to capital and technology. If you can find good talent and funding, you can actually start with an idea. There are so many government schemes like DPID, Startup India Seed Funds, Invest India, MIT has a lot of schemes as well. And it's just not the government. If you see today, we have around 700 incubators and accelerators in the country. So if you are an entrepreneur or a budding entrepreneur, you can actually find the support very locally as well. You don't have to be in Bangalore, Delhi, Mumbai, Pune, Chennai. You can actually find the initial support for your pilots, developing a initial version, your MVP, then and there. And I think that's the success of the ecosystem.
True.
I would think.
But I made this statement in my opening remarks in this podcast. It's not just about launching or starting off any venture, but it's all about scaling up, sustaining, right? The statistics also speaks a lot of startups getting closed.
Absolutely, 90%, over 90% startups don't survive.
So that's not a healthy, run. Where are we missing? Where the kids are missing? And I don't mind me using the word kids because the startups
That's
are
okay.
generally run by.
That's okay. I think
More
probably we are getting
kids.
much older as well. See, I think it's a multi-dimensional, equation which, when it comes to startup, when somebody gets an idea today, what's available to them is a little bit of funding and resources, access to mentor. Take a case of any tech startup. Typically, if you look at the profile of tech startup, it is done by people who are good in technology, right? They are technical. So they build a first version of their product very fast, very soon, because that's in their skill set to build that. Soon they realize that being an innovator is not same or similar as being an entrepreneur, because the moment you are an innovator, a product is enough. The moment you start taking the journey towards entrepreneurship, your tech skills become just 20%. 80% is thinking about business models, GTM, monetization, your customer
The end-to-end
profiling, and so on and so forth. And very often than not, we've seen human beings continue to do what they are most comfortable with. And in this case, technology. They don't go anywhere because they don't really open up. Sometimes they don't really get that kind of access to mentors and all the other services. If you're obviously in a town where such access to such resources are not available. And I think that's one sure shot recipe of failure. That if you are building a tech startup, for example, you get glued. You are emotionally so attached to the product and the technology which you build, that you once you build, you think and you close your eyes that world is going to buy it, and you're up for a big shock, because that's not true.
That's not
It's
true.
not going to happen. It never happens that way, which means that the role of an ecosystem, like we were talking earlier, Guru, was so important. I think as founders, they need to be open to sharing that idea. Obviously, you have to protect IP, but there are ways to protect IP, but also go to people who can help you build a startup. A journey of an innovator to an entrepreneur to a sustainable, profitable organization is very
Very,
hard.
I know.
It's very long, and a lot of people who start with an idea could survive that journey, and that's where the whole failure rate of above 90%.
But apart from this, do you also find missing aggression? What these had in the launch, you're not finding them to scale it up.
Yeah, I think it's about, I mean, aggression or motivation is a function of how well you are able to progress as well. I'm sure, see, India has seen 110 unicorns. So there are fantastic examples out there who have started with zero and then built a company which is $1 billion or more valuation. You would see a lot of role models of small town boys. We've been talking to physics wala, and in just 5 years, building a organization
True.
of 4,000 crore valuation is phenomenal.
Absolutely. It's not a
I
joke.
think we have a lot of role models in India itself. Probably India is the third largest innovation ecosystem, and it is not without reason, because the kind of entrepreneurship, the kind of ideas which we have seen in Indian ecosystem is just phenomenal. I think what we need to do as a founder is to open to ideas, accept advice, try out different things. It is possible that the idea you started with is not the idea which is going to grow, and that's okay, because if you are married to your idea, you can never move forward. It is also okay sometime to invite investment and dilute your company, because as they say, 100% of nothing is nothing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so if you
Agree.
can keep your equity close to your chest and not really inviting people and strategic investor to participate in, it's always going to be next to zero. I think that openness to learn different skills, openness to really leverage the resources, openness to really change your model, and that's, as we say in startup ecosystem, you sometimes you have to pivot, and that's okay as well. Openness to really understand the customer persona. Your market can be billions of dollars, but what's your market segment? What's your customer segment? Understanding that persona of a customer who can not just use your product but also can pay for it is so important as well.
No, very true. I absolutely agree on this point. At the same time, these you could see a lot of changes happening currently with the current ecosystem that we are talking about. Do you predict the legacies what Tata or the Birla Group or the Reliance or Adani, can we witness this again in the coming generations?
I think it's going to be a different world, I believe, Guru,
Mhm.
because I mean, all the due respect of the business houses, the times were very different.
True.
I think today we're talking about entrepreneurship of Mahatma Gandhi when he did Satyagraha. I think to me that is an example of entrepreneurship, because nobody ever thought about it. There was a risk involved. There was a element of really defining a vision and motivating people behind you to pursue that vision.
True.
We obviously saw Jamshedji Tata,
Yes.
who built or probably started in the Indian Industrial Revolution as well.
Absolutely.
But I also feel that the coming time is going to be very different, especially when we think about technologies like artificial intelligence. Everything around customer is changing. We used to wait for Chitrahar, which used to be a DD
I know.
Wednesday and Friday, 8
Eight
o'clock,
o'clock?
5 songs with one
Yes. I
commercial,
was a fan of it.
isn't it? And as kids, we have waited. Now, I know that is making me sound very old. But today, when I look at my kids, they cannot even imagine that they click twice on Spotify if the song is not coming within microsecond. I think
Absolutely.
their access to information is amazing. I remember a time when my father would take half a day chutti to go to a bank to withdraw 500 rupees.
One.
My daughter hasn't seen a bank. She's very curious to
Absolutely.
see what happens in the bank and why do you really
Not
need
required. Yes.
such a big infrastructure. Now, what I'm trying to tell you with these two examples, and I'm sure you'll have many as well, Guru, is that world around us has changed so much, is changing so much. What if I tell you, we've been developing a view on interventions of artificial intelligence for disability inclusion. What if I tell you that in coming time, you'll be able to rent dreams? I'm sure that's the response which you would expect. MIT is working on a technology where one of the favorite questions we love asking each other when we get up is, Guru, what did you see in your dreams? And you'll have some stories to tell.
True.
But what if I tell you that if the MIT technology were to get commercialized, if you want to be visiting Florida, going to Disney tonight, I think MIT technology will give you auditory inputs in your brain, and morning you wake up, you'll describe to me which ride did you go.
Goodness.
I think that's the potential. Another example, let me tell you, um, if you know this country called Albania,
Yes.
which is European country,
Right.
which is a small nation, few months back last year, they included a AI bot as a minister in their parliament. So world is changing around us, and the way we are doing banking, the way we are traveling, the way we are accessing content, the way we are ordering, the impatience of 10-minute delivery versus getting ready and taking 3 hours to get to do the same stuff is really overhauling the way we live, the way we think, the way we interact, the way relationships are working. And if that's true, the heart of this change is technology innovation. And I think that's exciting and equally scary
Absolutely.
as
Yes.
well.
Absolutely. The realistic fact about all these businesses and startups, it's all about ups and downs. So, what's the Prateek's view of success management and failure management?
No, I think everybody is different, and I'm not here to tell that there is a
Formula?
sure short way. There's a
There's no
formula.
formula. Yeah.
I think the moment you put a formula, there's always exceptions of formula, and somebody will use that to build a sustainable
Which
business.
may
But
or
obviously,
which may
there
not
are
work. Yeah.
fundamental rules. There are founding principles
Yes.
which essentially are it's about your mental model. Today, when we build startups, you have to be up for a hard journey personally as founders. I mean, we asked when we built this whole ecosystem 500 plus assistive technology startup, and one, building a startup itself is very difficult.
True.
Building a startup in disability using assistive technology is 10x or 100x harder than
The rest
any
of the
normal
things.
startup
Yes.
as well. So it's going to be a difficult journey from a perspective that, number one, most startup journey are a lonely journey.
Mhm.
Yeah. Second, you will definitely reach a lot of time points where there are going to be 5 different ways you could do things, and you got to bring your mental model, you have to build your resource model, you have to build your decision frameworks to choose among them. Right or wrong, we'll figure it out. Third, I think you have to definitely care immensely about your customer. Any defocus on your potential customer, you will never be able to
That's
build
for sure.
business. Yeah, you can build fantastic platforms, most amazing technologies, use artificial intelligence, computer, a lot of BCI coming in, but it's not going to be useful if you have not figured out your business model, monetization model. So you have to also think about all the business aspect equally as you build the technology if you're in a tech business. You have to be open to ideas, you have to be open to investments. Today, there is a potential to not only build a startup which serves Indian market, there is a potential to build a startup which can serve global clients as well.
Absolutely.
And I think because technology per se is beyond boundaries, and if you believe that, you have to build your solution keeping that in mind. It's okay to pivot. A lot of time I've seen startup founders get so hooked to their idea that they are not ready and open to pivot.
True.
And it's okay to pivot because, like I said, you have to care for what scales than what is initially built. So I think that's going to be important as well. Um, it's going to be a long journey, but a amazing one, because I personally have seen lot of learnings as human being. When you do a startup, it probably is the fastest way to understand how business and world works. And I think startup is a best way to
Best way.
also test yourself what you are made out of, and probably use your education, experience, network, thought processes, and that resilience. And I think it's a phenomenal journey to go through. But obviously, even if you are successful or not, it'll give you learnings for the lifetime.
Lovely. Without a doubt. I absolutely agree. You have had an incredible journey from the corporate till the date what you're doing right now. Anything pending in the bucket list of Prateek?
So, very quickly, when we started building this whole ecosystem of disability tech, so ATF today has built an ecosystem in India which is 500 startups strong.
True.
All of these startups are for profit in nature. So, while ATF is set up as a Section 8 non-profit company, all our 500 plus startups are for profit companies building tech innovation for people with disabilities and seniors. As we built this ecosystem in India, initially we could not see a lot of solutions for invisible disability. So we could see a lot of tech innovation coming for people with visual impairment. So, like I was saying earlier, there is a startup called SHG which has built a small device
Right.
which can fit it in your
Yes.
specs, and it can help a blind person see in outside environment and an inside environment in a class or in a meeting, in a corporate environment as well. But we built now an ecosystem which also cares for tech innovation for autism, learning disability, dyslexia, and so on and so forth. So it's a well balanced ecosystem in terms of the disability spread. I mean, in India, there are 21 kinds of disability as Government of India defines. It is also an ecosystem which is now attracting a lot of investments. It is also an ecosystem which is also using contemporary tech. I think we've just begun, to be honest, Guru. I believe that India can be the best assistive technology hub which can serve 1.4 billion people with disabilities in the world, not just take a shot at serving 70, 80 million people with disabilities in India. So our hope is that we can probably use and leverage the technologies which are being developed in India, use the principles of reverse innovation,
Right.
and make these innovations available in markets outside India as well. So that's one from a taking our innovation, because they are frugal, they are very, very innovative as well. The number two thing is, if India can be the best assistive technology hub, we are also talking about large manufacturing base, which also can provide employment to a lot of people with disabilities. So through that, while we build that ecosystem in India, we also have the opportunity for adding 5 to 7% GDP, because as somebody said, that if you are employing people with disabilities, putting them in job, you can actually not only making them financially independent, that's socially acceptable, but you're also contributing in the nation building process.
Absolutely, yes.
And third is a big hope that we've done a research, we've written a point of view of artificial intelligence interventions in disability inclusion. We are very, very excited. Now in India, there are at least 30, 35 startups who are using artificial intelligence for the disability inclusion. So our hope also, and we're talking to the central government and state governments as well, to really establish a AI first assistive technology center of excellence in Bangalore. I think in next couple of years, hopefully we will see a light of the day where we are going to not just house best of technology, but also look at some of the contemporary tech like AI, brain computer interface, computer vision, all that in under one roof, and we can probably house India's top 100 startup in that center of excellence, which will obviously help a lot of people with disabilities, their parents, special educators, and also it can go beyond India. So I think that's the whole vision. That's the bucket list or a to-do list in next few
Great. I
years.
mean, you're in a mission. You're in such a noble cause. I'm sure all the stakeholders, including the universe, is with you in this cause.
No, thank you very much.
The beauty of this conversations like this, it's been watched by thousands of budding entrepreneurs who take a lot of lessons from your journey, who seek inspiration. Do you have any message or tips to my budding entrepreneurs of tomorrow?
Yeah, I think, like I said, world around us is changing, and as students of a business school, I'm sure you realize that while the traditional path of appearing and sitting for placements and joining a corporate job may or may not be available, may or may not be pursued as a choice, and that's okay. I think today I'm here to tell you that world is full of opportunities. While the technology is transforming our life, it is also transforming the business landscape, and there is never a better time to be an entrepreneur what it is today. There's never ever a better location to be an entrepreneur than being in India. India's problems of 1.4 billion people are India's opportunities. And I think today India offers anybody who wants to do a startup, who wants to be an entrepreneur, an entire ecosystem, a set of resources, which includes not just funding, but so many mentors, so many people who have already built their startups and ready to invest and mentor, the budding entrepreneur. And I think what is something which you should consider if you're a budding entrepreneur is this ecosystem is something where all boats will rise, and hence you're not alone. If you have an idea, I think you must pursue. I'm sure GIBS through IRE and other resources will be of great help to you. But if you are in Bangalore or any other city, there is a larger ecosystem that exists who can help you grow the idea. And a lot of time, I think it is not that the world is not around to help you. It is about, are you really interested in pursuing this hard, long, difficult journey? Because if you do, probably you'll create something which never existed. And I think the joy of creating something which doesn't exist, which serves the world, is the best joy one could have in life. But thank you very much. Yeah.
Absolutely. That was an incredible message. You know what? You spoke from the heart.
Thank you very much.
That's the beauty of such, conversations. As I made you off the camera, we were discussing. I said nothing happens between the four walls of the classrooms.
Absolutely.
Right? The interactions like this, the exposure like this gives them a lot of takeaways. I think that was a perfect wrap to our a short and sweet conversation with Mr. Prateek. On behalf of all my viewers out there, let me extend my heartfelt thanks for your time. It was incredible talking to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right? I'm sure my viewers, not just from the GIBS, from across the border and the nation, a lot of budding entrepreneurs will seek a lot of inspirations from your journey. As I said, you are in a mission and you're in a cause which is the need of the hour, right? And this is the true definition of being an entrepreneur.
Well, thank you very much.
Mine and GIBS best wishes is always with you in your upcoming journey.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, all the viewers. If you're not liked and subscribed us, please do subscribe and like us on all our social media platforms, GIBS IRE Talks, GIBS Business School. Do follow Mr. Prateek on LinkedIn. It's, sometimes following people like them is as good as buying an entrepreneurship book. That's what I always say. Please do that. And it was pleasure interacting. And thank you for your time and patience. This is Professor Guru Prasad signing off.